Happy New Year, my friend. It's Pat Sloan here, and it is kicking off January today with our organization extravaganza. Tidy up, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be spending a deep dive all month into different topics of organizing your sewing space so that it is more efficient and effective and wonderful and fun for you. We also have all the regular things to do. So we'll do the regular things, and then we'll do the sewing stuff, the organizational stuff. Some days that'll be a heavier on organization, other days will be a little lighter on it. Just depends on what's going on for the topic. Also, I hope you had an amazing day yesterday for actual New Year's Day. So I hope it was relaxing. I hope you did the things you want to do. I am going to try to do yoga every day with Adrienne. So she does a challenge every January where she puts a video up every day, and they're yoga sessions. And I haven't been doing them that much. After I broke my wrist, I couldn't do them. It was too hard, and I just sort of got out of the habit, and I would do them sort of periodically. So I thought, okay, this is great. I will try to kickstart back in. Even if I just do 10 minutes of it, I'm happy with that. Even if it's just 10 minutes. It is nice and calming. They are, she has a variety of range of what she does for the dailies. So, you know, if it's too hard, just sit and do the breathing exercises, because that is just so good for the soul. It's really, really good. Also, thank you for all the nice comments about my haircut. I'm happy I got it cut. There's the back. So we'll see. I have to keep up on it. See, last time I just sort of let it go for a little too long, and well, a lot too long, like 3 months. I went 3 months where I didn't get it cut. And I just wanted to see how long it would grow, just to have that feeling. And so this is a good length. I like it. I like it. All right. The other thing that is happening tonight, I have been invited over to Handmade by Ying, which is Donna's YouTube channel. So Donna is a person who follows here as well, and she invited me to come and do a little chat tonight. And it is a live chat, which means the chat window will be open. You will be able to talk in there, post questions to Donna, and then she can ask me, or however it works, however she's doing it. But you can, or you might even leave a comment in advance. So the link is down below and at my website, so that you can go over and be ready. And it is at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, it's, you know, it's live when we're talking, but then it will be it's recorded and you'll be able to watch it later. So anyways, thanks Donna for asking me. So that should be exciting tonight. Let's do Scrappiness is Happiness first, because we have got a mega block. This is the biggest block in the sampler. I don't know if it's the biggest block in the book, but it's the biggest block in the sampler, and it is called the Scrap Apple. So it's very much like a pineapple block. So that is, it's like a, yeah, it's pretty much like a pineapple block, but done into quadrants. And you're not using any papers or anything else. So here is the big beauty. Here she is. Look at this. It was so fun to do. Really, really fun. So I want to talk a little bit about the fabric on this, and then I'll take the other camera and we'll look at what we have on the wall afterwards, so that you can see it up there, sort of in place with everything else. So fun. Okay, let's go to the other side. Being such a large block, it really will use up some fabric. And there is some cutaway, which I'm also going to talk about. So the block itself is done, here, let me show you this first. The block itself is done as 4 quadrants, and they are each done the exact same way. So you're building them out this way, so that you have the center going with these flying geese, and they're a fun way to do it. She has a fun sew and flip, and then you're taking all 4 of them and placing it. The one thing you have to watch out for, let me get the block, the mega block here, is if you're going to use directional fabrics. So I have a little bit of directional fabric in this one, mostly, well, just maybe one. No, I have 2. So I have, there's both word text. So I have the directional fabric here for the word text, and then the sew and flip down here. This one is word text. So those two, so if I want to have this as the top of my block, then I needed to be sure as I was sewing everything that these two would be placed correctly. Otherwise it didn't matter. I could, I could sort of chain piece, but I had to be sure that I wanted them to be face up so that you read the text and they weren't sideways or upside down. And so that's one thing to watch out for. Now while you're doing this, it is going to create this stack here. And so today this is what I want to talk about after one other sort of thought here on the block. I decided to use all of this cream color, not the background. I didn't want the background for the blocks because the block would disappear. These things would be like floating on my background and I didn't want that. So this is sort of sashings now, and backgrounds for some blocks, like the Santa had a background, the mushrooms have this as a background. You'll see when we do this straight on. But this block I chose the light color and made it all the same because I didn't want it to get too I wanted to be cohesive. I didn't want to lose the pattern by using a lot of different fabrics. So all the same. The other fabrics are all different, and I did pick two with white based backgrounds. So you can decide if you like that or not for your quilt. Like you might find these sort of like disappear a bit because of course the edges blend, the color blends right in. A little bit less so over here because some of the fabric color is more towards the edges, but I'm okay with that because I actually thought it would be really a neat look to have it doing that. Let me see if I can get the whole block in here. There we go. All right, let's look at what happened when we did the sew and flips. And I'll put that block back up on the wall. The sew and flips will generate all of these units. And so they're all the same. They have square triangles, but some of them have little, like look at this. See the center there? See, it has a little peaky part and a little bit bigger one. It has that, which is very cool. So these are kind of regular half square triangles, although some of them will have seams in it. So I mean, you could do, I don't know if you wanted to do some extra blocks for the back. You could also try using all of these together somehow and making one giant block for the back. Maybe there's not enough, like I don't have enough of this size to be doing, something like this. I don't have 4 of them. I would have to trim down the next size up, which I'm not sure I want to do, but let's just leave it there for a second. So like these could come out on the corner. See, all of this gets to grow so much, so big, and then there's even bigger ones. So I am not sure how I'm going to play around with these, whether I would just do a bunch of these kind of units, these sort of diamond, let me pull forward, sort of diamond units. That might be what I do. I'm kind of just leaning to doing a bunch of those, and then the ones that have the little peeking out, which are so cute, there we go, like this. There's a turquoise. See how that little peeks out? So I mean, these could all just be blocks that go in the part center or go in the back of the quilt. Like the next one is even bigger. So I mean, these are something to keep and do something with. And I'm thinking, not really in itself, although you could mess around with them and maybe make a baby quilt. I mean, they might be enough, and then later when you have some other fabric, you might be able to mix that in. So there's something that can be done with them. So for right now, they are just going back into the bin. So they just go back in the bin, and then I'll decide in a little while if I make them into something. So I'm going to put the block back up on the wall, and we'll go over and take a look at that straight on with everything together. So here we can get a full view of them where I've got them roughly placed where they'll be, and you can just see how huge this block is. So much fun. Can you imagine doing a whole quilt of these? So cool. And now we're kind of filling in here to the right. This will eventually be sewn in horizontal rows, which I think there's one somewhere there and then down below, or these could be combined. I can't remember to look at the diagram, but there you go. It's a full view of all the blocks so far for Scrappiness is Happiness. These are coming along so wonderful. I'm loving the coloration, the blue and white and yellow and turquoise. Yeah, it's just working out so good. Okay, we're ready. Are you ready for our organization extravaganza? Get your favorite beverage, hopefully in a Sloan Zone cup. I have my Starbucks in here, keeping it chilled. What I'm going to do is talk to you about the approach today. It's the approach of how to take this month and make the best of it, make it work the best for you, make the most of it, and how you can, what works for your work style and for your amount of time that you have to devote and your amount of mental space you have to devote to it. Remember, what you have is professional organizers call it your inventory. That's a pretty common terminology they use. I like to watch a lot of those. So they have, you have to manage this inventory that is your fun sewing supplies in your space. And sometimes we get a lot of inventory that we have not managed well. And that's the point where many of you might be right now, where you're not motivated by your space overwhelms you, your space does not make you happy. So this is a month to get that corrected so you can get back into your groove and not be so annoyed by all the different things. So the first thing we have is the approach. And I think the approach, there are kind of three ways. I have done this many, many, many times over many, many, many years. And I've done it with my community. And so I have found that there's kind of three approaches. One is what I would say is like the all-in, clear the room. You're going to just empty it and basically start over with your thought process of what you have in your workspace. Your workspace might be a corner of the dining room. Your workspace might be your entire basement. It could be somewhere in between. My workspace is 2 rooms, this room and then my dining room, which has, because I'm a business, and even though, well, I shouldn't say because I'm a business, because many of you have more than 1 room and you're not a business. It's just because we have a lot of fun stuff. So, that's what you're dealing with. Now, the all-in approach is what I did in 2017 when I decided to, when I got the koala furniture, and I knew I had to remove everything out of here, all the furniture pieces and everything, because most of that was not coming back in. So even if you do the all-in, you don't have to remove everything. You don't have to get new furniture, is what I mean. You don't want to get anything new while you're doing this. That's the other. I'll just throw this in now. That's the other #1 tip from professional organizers: is do not buy any storage things. Don't buy any furniture until you are done, because you have no clue what you're going to end up with. You may do a whole different thought process by the end of this. And so you don't want to buy something that is not going to work. You want to wait to the end, see what you have, see what your situation is, and then if you feel you need to buy something, that is when you do it. Because I know some of you want to replace your tables maybe because they're rickety or they're not appropriate actually for sewing. Those are kind of goals, but wait till the end, wait till the end. So the all-in, I'll come back to that in a second. The second approach is tackling sort of just something major, but you might be thinking, is this going to take me all month? Like fabric or projects or control of UFOs, because there's some mental space or you don't have enough time to work on it every day. So that you're going to pick maybe 1 or 2 of these really big things that you need to address, and you'll stretch them out over the month. And then the third one would be, like, I'd say it's the dainty people. The people are going to be very dainty about this, and you're going to pick maybe 1 or 2 tiny little tasks for the 9th of January. And then you'll do the tiny little tasks, and then that's it. You're good. You might be because you want to participate, but you don't want to do anything more than that. Maybe your area is very organized and you really don't need to do very much, but you want to get in the, participate with everybody. So maybe you can clean up a little bit of this or a little bit of that. So those are the 3 categories. It's sort of like the whole enchilada, the sort of take the big stuff, or the dainty ones where you just take a little bit, just this tiny little task. All right, I'm going to show you some pictures now. When I do an all-out empty the room, it is so satisfying. I mean, I would love to do it again, just because I know I have stuff in here that isn't what I use all the time. And I could use this space in better ways. And for me, taking everything out lets me get a clear, clean view of my environment. What that means is you need a place to put all that stuff. All the stuff you're taking out has to go somewhere in your house. And if you can just devote that, say, okay, it's January, I am going to have a messy dining room or a messy hallway or two. But here are some pictures. When the furniture was coming, I knew I had to clean everything out, take all the furniture out, because the only thing I was keeping was my desk. Koala did not have a desk unit. They may now have some, because they work with a couple different companies now, but then they didn't have a desk unit, so I had to keep my desk, and I was keeping the Tiara at the time, and I still have the Tiara table, but I've stored the machine for the moment. So I cleared everything out, and you can see there's you know, all the bins of fabric, because that's how I store my fabric, or in these open bins. That's what you see up on the shelves up there. And I've done that for a long time. I have baskets of things, but all the drawers of all the other units. I don't have a lot of stuff in drawers then. I have more drawers now than I did then. I had them in boxes, but all of that was just hauled into the hallway. And then you know, then there was the reviewing and everything else. So that is what will come. But if you want to do this task, hauling it all out, you sometimes you can do some editing as you're hauling it out, but often I found just hauling it out was better, and then you edit it where it is. Editing meaning decision making about what you're keeping or not keeping. Okay, so that middle part, just tackling the big things. If you're going to be doing that for the month, then let's say fabric, which is about 75% of you say fabric is the one thing you have to get control over, then take a look today around at your fabric and say, okay, do I have it all together? Because if you've got fabric here, and you've got fabric in the other room, and you've got fabric in your car trunk, and you have fabric in, you know, under the bed in the guest bedroom, you're going to need to pull it all out. I mean, to do this properly, like I would do it, okay, let's just say how I would do it. It's not proper, but how I would do it, I would pull it all out, because you don't know what you have. You have no idea. And if you want to get control of what you have, you need it all in the same space. So once again, you are a person that's going to need that extra space to for sorting and reviewing and everything else. So you're going to need to take over your hall or your dining room or whatever for a little while. And then the dainty group, if you are pick out the couple of things that you think you might work on, or best just pick out one. Pick out the first one that you think, and if it's lower in the month, maybe you pick out another one higher in the month off that list, because I'll probably be working from this list, so you can pick out maybe 2 or 3 little things that you think you'll address. Okay, the other part that is super important is thinking about how you're going to maintenance the evaluation. So what does that mean? That means as you pick something up, let's say, these blocks I just showed you, they're a good example. So we all have good intentions. Maybe this is a set of blocks that you did 15 years ago, and you still have never put it into anything, and you can't see any time in the near future that that is going to happen. So you might decide, as you pick it up, you might decide, this is a donation. This is a donation. Okay, so here's what you're doing is, mentally, you're going to need 3 categories. You're going to need the keep. Okay, and you probably can't keep everything, but you know, if you've got a big space, maybe you can. Maybe you can. We don't all have big spaces. I'm one with a very small space. So you have keep, you have review, and you have, you know, you're going to donate, or even trash. You might have stuff that's just, you find trash in your room, like, you know, old printed PDF patterns that you made the quilt and you're never going to make it. You don't need a PDF anymore, so you recycle that. You know, so it's, you know, old spools of, you know, thread that you don't use anymore. That's, you know, they're empty. You know, that kind of thing. Trash. So, but still, it's probably a donate pile, a donate or give away or sell. The other thing is you can sell it, and we'll talk about that. And on the sheet, I give you a whole list from the moderators and myself as to different ways that third pile, that get rid of it pile, can disappear. So you're going to need a space to do those 3 things, and that is something that you'll carve out from, you know, the other part of your house. It would be best. If you can't, then carve out a corner of your room, of your sewing space. If you sew in the dining room, then carve out another corner of the dining room that's going to have to be devoted to these, so that you can figure out and move them along. So you're going to have the keep, the review, and the get rid of in some manner. All right, that is what we're doing. Tomorrow we start fabric, and we're going we're going to talk about how to review our fabric, which will be sort of an ongoing thing. And I will tell you the hot things that I will be reviewing tomorrow. I will tell you what things I want to focus on and what you'll see me work through during the month. All right, my friend, you have a gigantic block to do for Scrappiness is Happiness. There it is. And if you did not print out the organization, do that. And if you can join the chat tonight, I would love to see you. Remember, it is over at Handmade by Ling, which is with Donna. So I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online. Organizing. You can do it. Yeah, we can do it together. Mwah.